Sing to the rock, sing to the tree, sing to the firefly lighting up the sky. Sing, sing to the sea. Hello, I'm Mary Wheelan, and this is The Song, a show that features songwriters and their original songs. And today I am very pleased to welcome Jim Palana.
There's a moon above the ocean. It's like a hole in the sky. And there's somebody out there looking in, and we may never know why. But don't you worry, little mama, it ain't a period, it's a comma. And you don't need the Dalai Lama to have the world on a string. Just play Sweet Home Alabama to the old buck and wing. And this crazy old planet is full of carpenter ants, and they're busy chewing up the scenery right in the middle of the dance. But don't you worry, little mama, it ain't a period, it's a comma. And you don't need the Dalai Lama to have the world on a string. Just play Sweet Home Alabama to the old buck and wing. I'm just trying to make it till payday. I wish it was a month of Sundays. We'll wear our high heel sneakers one day when we got nothing to lose. So don't you worry, little mama, it ain't a period, it's a comma. You don't need Michelle Obama to have the world on a string. Just play Sweet Home Alabama to the old buck and wing. There's a moon above the ocean. It's like a hole in the sky. And there's somebody out there looking in, and we may never know why. But don't you worry, little mama, it ain't a period, it's a comma. You don't need the Dalai Lama to have the world on a string. You got that going for you. Just play Sweet Home Alabama, just do the old buck and wing. Just play Sweet Home Alabama, do the old buck and wing. Okay. Here's an old song that I wrote a few years ago, recorded a few years ago, but I'd like to do it now and dedicate it to our new Nobel Prize laureate for literature. I saw a sign stuck on a wall. Bob Dylan down at the Union Hall. A boyish face in a photograph. I felt his eyes upon my back. A record player I did not own, and his songs weren't on the radio. And I wondered what he had to say that made them ask him here to play. 'Cause working folk and college kids took their strength from what he did and rallied round the troubadour who gave them words for what they saw. What they saw, Lord, Lord. Well, they sat on chairs and on the floor until that hall couldn't hold no more. A single stool and a pair of mics, a ceiling fan and one spotlight. And he came out looking ill at ease, a slight figure in flannel and dungarees. Some simple chords began to strum, and from somewhere else that voice did come. Working folk and college kids took their strength from what he did. They rallied round the troubadour who gave them words for what they saw. For what they saw, Lord, Lord, Lord. The changing times, the hard rain, where he sang of a pawn in their game. And Hattie Carroll lived again, the answers blowing in the wind. The time went by in a single breath. He said good night and then he left. And I walked home, it wasn't far, and I picked up my dad's guitar. His working folk and college kids took their strength from what he did and rallied round the troubadour who gave them words for what they saw. What they saw, Lord, Lord. I saw a sign down at the mall, Bob Dylan at the concert hall. A weathered face in a photograph, eyes hidden beneath a hat.
Hi, Jim. It was really enjoyable to listen to your first two songs there.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the now the second one you wrote about Bob Dylan, that was a while back. You wrote
that's
that.
from an album that I put out back in I think 1996.
Yeah. No, but the first song is from this new CD, which has a very, very wonderful cover with a cute little boy on the front, and that is Jim from a long time ago.
Yes, it is.
Like back in the 1950s.
Back in the 50s, yeah, back in the middle 50s. When Ted Williams was still playing.
Uh-huh. And when you got the baseball uniform on.
I was a big baseball fan.
Yeah. Now, where can people get this?
They can get it from all the online outlets, CD Baby for the actual disc, and then iTunes, Spotify, Laurel and Hardy, wherever people buy, whatever websites people use to buy CDs these days, it's there.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And now you have a website. What's your website?
Well, I have a Facebook site, Jim Palana Music, that you can track gigs, and I'm putting out my memoirs on there. So every few days I put a little story of places I've been, things, people I've known. So that's a good place to find. And if you want to sample the CD, you can do it on jimpalana.hearnow.com for the new CD.
Great. So then people can get an idea of what it's like.
They can hear the songs and whatever,
Great. Now, you've had 5 CDs altogether?
Yeah, well, 4 CDs and a vinyl album. My first recording was on vinyl only. That was how smart I was.
Wow.
It was 1983, and I didn't know what was coming, so I put it out on vinyl, and now it's a collector's item.
Now, you want to kind of give us an idea of how things have progressed from one album to another? Where do you think you were at with your songwriting and performing in comparison to back then?
Well, that's a good question, really, because it's just been a constant evolution for me over the years. It's not something I really work at, but it just seems that as I get older and my experience has become greater, that it's reflected in what I do. And quite honestly, I think the songs on the new CD are probably amongst the best that I've written in 50-odd years of writing songs. And I actually don't know if I can, do much better than I did on. I mean, those songs I think are, as good as anything I've done over the years. So I'm real proud of them and the way the CD came out. We tried to make an old-fashioned folk album, myself and my partner on the record, Barry Brown, who's a wonderful fingerstyle guitar player. And we wanted to make an album that sounded like the way we used to play back in the late 60s when we played together. And we actually hadn't played together in probably 25 years until we did this album.
Wow.
I got in touch with him kind of out of the clear blue, and we started hanging out and playing, and it was like getting back on the bicycle. We just sounded like we did years ago. And I said, I got a bunch of songs. We should go in the studio and just do this so that we have a record of how we used to sound. Because we had never recorded. We had done some radio shows back in the day. So that's what I'm real happy about with the new CD, is that I got to showcase Barry's playing. Hopefully a lot of people will like what he does. And just doing the songs in a real simple way, old-fashioned way.
Great. And so now he played with you, but did you co-write anything?
No. Barry's more left to his own devices. Barry is kind of a country blues-based player and ragtime, and he actually plays anything with strings, but his favorite genres of blues and actually Brazilian and Latin music.
Oh, great.
I've actually never co-written with anybody over the years. People have asked me to, but for me, it's an organic process, and so I've just never gotten down to actually sitting in a room with somebody and brainstorming. That might happen. You never know.
Now, so you write from more like an inspiration place kind of thing?
Back when I first started back in the 60s when I was a kid, I tried to write on a regular schedule, because that's what I thought writers did. I mean, that's what Hemingway did, and I heard Gordon Lightfoot used to do that. They'd sit down at a certain time every day with their guitar or whatever and paper and, write for a few hours, and I thought that's what you had to do if you were a real writer. But over the years, I kind of got, as my life got more complicated as I got older, and I didn't have the luxury of having that kind of time, I just decided to just let things happen, and if, put the antenna up and, if things come, they come. And, I go through stretches where nothing comes for, good months at a time. And then, things kind of get stored up, and then they just come out, something triggers and they come out, So I don't even think about it. I really haven't written anything now. We did the record this summer, and I really haven't written anything in a few months because I haven't felt, I've been busy, and, the antenna isn't up right now. So, but I just prefer to let it come to me, rather than force it out,
That's interesting. You say the antenna is not up, and that's really, it's about being open to inspiration.
It is for me.
Yeah.
It is for me. I find that's the way I prefer it. And sometimes my head gets full of white noise, and, I don't worry about it. I know other songwriters that have gone years, they call it writer's block. I don't consider it writer's block if I don't write anything for a long time, because I don't feel like I'm blocked. I just am not hearing anything, in my head. And eventually, it comes around, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. I've written a lot of songs. If I don't write anymore, the world will keep right on moving, and you'll keep finding songwriters to be on this show. So, but, they'll come when they come, and I prefer it that way, because usually the songs are better because they've been filtered through the experience, and my batting average is higher now than it used to be years ago.
Great.
Baseball metaphor.
Yeah, well, practice. Practice helps. So anyway, if people want to get in touch with you, they can do that through
Facebook is the best way.
Facebook is the best way.
Sure.
Okay. And I know you have a couple of more songs you're going to do today for us.
I hope so.
Okay, great.
Right,
I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Mary. Okay, here's a song from my new CD. It's about one of my favorite characters in the Bible. It's called Joseph. How did you feel that day when you heard that your fiancé was in the family way, and you knew you were not the father? She was just a girl, she was barely out in this world, and how your thoughts did swirl between shame and fear and anger. Well, it was probably some soldier who took her in some corner, another fresh dishonor by those pagan sons of Caesar. But she said she talked to angels. She said she talked to angels. And you believed in angels, didn't you? Didn't you? Joseph. Tradesman in your town, a man known all around, and on the holy days to be found in prayer inside the temple. And this girl you'd barely known, arranged to be your own, brought shame into your home and the laws of your betrothal. You could refuse her as your wife, you could cast her out in spite, mark her baby for life by the sins of her betrayal. But she said she talked to angels, she said she talked to angels, you believed in angels, didn't you, didn't you? Joseph. Yes, you believed in angels, like the one who stood before you, told you of this baby and all that he would do, and the teachings of the prophets you would not live to witness. But you believed in angels, and how could you refuse? Could you, Joseph? There would be other children. Your teenage bride was willing, and you raised them up as equals to the one you adopted. And you passed out of the play, such a minor part you made, but he loved you in his way, though he knew you were not his father. As you breathed your last, did she come and take your hand? Was there something that you asked, and did she ever really answer? But she said she talked to angels. She said she talked to angels, and you believed in angels, didn't you? Didn't you, Joseph? This one's called The Mandolin Man. Mandolin Man stood out on the corner, playing for no one that anyone could see. He was looking up at the tops of the tallest buildings, sending out his songs upon the breeze. He never saw the people passing by him. He had no jar for tips that you could leave, and the notes flew out like sparks from his battered Gibson, reflected in the glass and stone and steel. Mandolin Man stood out on the corner, playing for no one that anyone could see. He was looking up at the tops of the tallest buildings, sending out his songs upon the breeze. And he sang his gospel songs in a keening tenor that harmonized with the sound of his mandolin. echoed down the avenues and the alleys, multiplied like a choir in the wind. Oh, I wish I could play a melody so pleasing. The notes would shoot right out of my fingertips. I wish I could sing a song that had some meaning, that someone else could take back to where they live. There the Mandolin Man stood out on the corner, playing for no one that anyone could see. He was looking up at the tops of the tallest buildings, sending out his songs upon the breeze.